One last set of questions here. The Sudan Tribune reported today that the executive secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development was in Khartoum to discuss, quote, to discuss with the Sudanese stakeholders the mediation they plan to launch to end the crisis, close quote. Up until now, UNITAM has the mandate from the UN to provide support to Sudan during its political transition to democratic rule. It was the only forum for dialogue to end the current crisis. So, Madam Secretary, is the report on IGAD's involvement accurate, and how might the efforts by IGAD complicate UNITAM's facilitated process?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's sloppy drafting. My understanding that the Secretary General, with whom we have a good and constructive working relationship, was there to see how IGAD could support the UNITAM's effort, and that IGAD, as you know, is nested under the AU, nested under the UN. So how all three bodies could help with this transition process. So I think that's a mischaracterization in the press report.
Okay, so then this is IGAD actually helping UNITAM. All right. Let me ask you this. What leverage do we and other actors have in the region to press the Sudanese military to participate in good faith from the administration's perspective?
I think, as we've discussed, we have mobilized enormous economic pressure and made clear our position and the position of like-minded friends in the international community. And I know that these, the sort of phenomenal impact which the World Bank discussed when we were in Riyadh at the Friends of Sudan meeting, where they compared the economic shock to the system as analogous to the political shock by the events on October 25th, that economic pressure is getting the attention of security leaders. The discussion we've had here today, the public statements made by members of Congress, are also getting the attention of security leaders. And thirdly, I believe our diplomacy, particularly our engagement of traditional partners of the Sudanese security forces, is also getting their attention.
You know, I often find that when we talk about economic shock, those who are in power, in this case by force, often don't end up feeling that part of the shock. The people do, but they don't. And the question is, how do we make them feel that reality as well? Because I find that coups, military juntas, dictators don't really care about the hurt of their people. Finally, if Sudan's transition to democracy fails, and we are all here to try to ensure it doesn't fail, but if it does, what are the implications for the U.S. strategic interests in the Horn of Africa? Which countries stand to win if the transition fails?
My own view is that nobody wins, neither the Sudanese, nor their neighbors, nor the region, nor the continent. And there may be some governments, we've discussed Russia here today, who get tactical gains or wins if there's a collapse of the Sudanese state, but the humanitarian consequences would be overwhelming, and it would contribute mightily to destabilization in northern Africa, in eastern Africa, and probably spreading south. So all of our efforts are focused on preventing that outcome because of the negative consequences.
Yeah. Well, I think there may have been some countries who were happy to see the coup take place. And the question is, if they were happy to see the coup take place, then what is the consequences if in fact the nation fails at the end of the day? To those who were happy to see the coup take place, they must have made calculations as to what they think is the benefit of that. And it would seem to me that we should be focusing on some of those countries to give them a clear message that, in fact, their calculation is wrong.